All right, so we're diving deep into the world of glove makers today, using some awesome guides from RoleCatcher. You'd think it's just about stitching, but there's way more to it.
Yeah, it's a lot more than meets the eye. You've got design and materials and even technology all playing a part.
Definitely. Like, who knew there were so many kinds of gloves? We're going to break down some of those tricky interview questions you might get hit with and give you some insider tips on building a killer glove maker career.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating field. I mean, you could be making high-tech gloves for like extreme weather conditions or designing those sleek sports gloves you see out there, or even creating pieces for like the runway.
Wow, so many options. See, that's why I think these AI tools from RoleCatcher are so cool.
I agree.
Imagine AI analyzing job descriptions and picking out the exact skills they want, then helping you tailor your resume and cover letter to really highlight those skills.
It's like having a secret weapon for your job hunt.
It is. You can even practice your interview answers with it and get feedback on how you sound. It's like a personal coach, but powered by AI.
Exactly. Speaking of interviews, let's jump into some common questions you might face. A classic one is, tell us about your experience in glove making.
Seems simple enough, but I bet there's an art to answering it the right way.
Oh, for sure. Don't just rattle off a list of jobs you've had. Think about specific projects that really show off your skills.
So like if you tackled a tough design problem or mastered a tricky stitching technique, those are the things you want to highlight.
Exactly. It's about connecting your experience directly to what the company's looking for. So research the company beforehand. See what their strengths are, what they're known for.
Ah, so like if they're all about using innovative materials or if they focus on ergonomics, you tailor your answer to match.
Precisely. And they might follow up with something like, can you elaborate on a specific project that you're particularly proud of?
Ooh, I like that. It's like your chance to tell a little success story.
Exactly. Pick a project that shows off your skills and your problem-solving abilities. Walk them through the process, the challenges, how you overcame them, and the awesome result you achieved.
Okay, so it's about painting a picture of what you can do. Now, another question I see pop up a lot is, how do you ensure accuracy and precision in your work?
Right, because in glove making, it's all about the details. Every stitch has to be perfect.
Absolutely. So what's the best way to answer that one?
Think about the tools you use, the techniques you've mastered, your whole quality control process.
So like a specific type of ruler you always use for precise measurements or a system for double-checking your patterns. You've got to prove you're detail-oriented.
Yeah, exactly. Don't just say you're detail-oriented. Show it with examples.
Okay, that makes sense. Now what about problem solving? That's got to be huge in this field.
Oh, totally. They might ask something like, describe a time you encountered a problem during the glove making process and how you solved it.
Ooh, that one sounds a little intimidating.
It doesn't have to be. Just think of a time when something went wrong. Like
Yeah.
maybe your stitching machine went haywire or a material wasn't behaving the way you expected.
It happens.
Oh, yeah. The key is to explain how you analyzed the situation, how you figured out what was wrong, and how you came up with a solution.
So it's about showing you can think on your feet and handle those unexpected curveballs.
Right. And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice answering these tricky questions.
Oh, right. It analyzes the language in the job description and suggests ways to align your answers with what they're looking for.
Exactly. So you're basically speaking their language. Okay, let's move on to another one. How do you stay updated on the latest trends and developments in glove making?
Oh, good one. Because things are constantly changing, right?
All the time. New materials, technologies, trends popping up left and right.
So how do you prove you're on top of it all?
This is where your passion comes in. Are you reading those industry magazines, following influential designers on social media, maybe taking online courses to learn new techniques?
So basically, you're showing them you're committed to constantly learning and evolving your craft.
Absolutely. And they might even follow up with, can you tell us about a specific trend or technology in glove making that you find particularly interesting?
Oh, I like that. You get to geek out a little about what excites you in the field.
Exactly. Maybe you've been reading about advancements in smart fabrics or 3D knitting, or you're fascinated by sustainable materials.
It's all about showing that you're not just going through the motions, you're actively engaged with how glove making is changing and growing.
Right. It shows you're thinking ahead and excited about the future of the craft.
Awesome. Okay, we've covered some great ground here, but there's so much more to unpack.
Oh yeah, we're just getting started. There are tons more questions to tackle and insider tips to share.
Exactly. So stay tuned because we're going to dive even deeper in the next part of our deep dive into the world of glove makers.
All right, so let's unpack that career path a little bit.
Yeah, let's map it out. Where do you even begin in this field?
So RoleCatcher breaks it down into three main stages: entry level, junior glove maker, and then senior glove maker.
Okay, so starting with entry level, what does that actually look like day to day?
At that stage, it's all about learning the basics. You're like a sponge, soaking up everything you can.
Makes sense. You're assisting those more experienced glove makers, right?
Exactly. You're getting familiar with different materials, maybe helping out with the design process or doing quality control checks.
So it's like a hands-on apprenticeship.
Pretty much. You're building a solid foundation.
I like that, building that foundation.
Yeah.
Now, RoleCatcher gives an example profile for each stage. What does that entry-level profile look like?
They describe someone who's eager to learn, has a good eye for detail, and good with their hands, of course.
Okay, so someone who's ready to jump in and get their hands dirty, literally.
Exactly. They might be cutting patterns, stitching seams, maybe even just organizing the workshop.
Got it. So you start there, build your skills, and then what? You move up to junior glove maker. What's different at that level?
As a junior glove maker, you're taking on more responsibility. You're starting to apply those skills you learned. You might be designing and creating prototypes, collaborating with more senior designers, even working directly with clients.
Ooh, so more creative freedom and problem solving. Sounds like a step up for sure. What's the example profile RoleCatcher gives for a junior glove maker?
They picture someone with a solid grasp of design principles, strong stitching skills, and someone who can work independently on projects.
Okay, so you're not just following instructions anymore. You're bringing your own ideas to the table.
Right. You're starting to develop your own style.
That's cool. All right, and then the top level, the dream job, senior glove maker. What does that involve?
At that level, you're basically leading the show. You have a deep understanding of materials, design, the entire production process.
Wow, so you've really mastered your craft at that point.
Yeah. You might be managing a team of glove makers, handling client relationships, even designing your own collection.
That's amazing.
Oh.
What does RoleCatcher's example profile say about a senior glove maker?
They describe someone with tons of experience, a killer portfolio, and excellent leadership skills.
So you're not just a glove maker, you're a mentor and a leader.
Exactly. And you're always pushing the boundaries of what's possible in glove making.
So inspiring. But it's not just about getting to that top level. You've got to stay up to date, right?
Oh, absolutely. The industry is constantly evolving, new materials, technologies, trends. It's a lot to keep up with.
Totally. And interviewers want to see that you're on top of it. So how can RoleCatcher's AI help with that?
Their AI is amazing for this. It has this career compass feature that can actually map out potential career paths for you.
Wait, really? So it shows you what skills you need to develop and even suggests courses or training programs?
Yep. You tell it your current skills and experience, and it creates a personalized roadmap. It can even tell you which companies are leading the way in innovation.
That's so helpful. I can see how that would make you feel more confident going into an interview.
For sure. And it can help you talk about those trends intelligently. Show the interviewer that you're passionate about the future of glove making.
All right, that makes sense. Now let's go back to those interview questions. How do the answers change depending on your career stage?
Right, because what you highlight as an entry-level candidate is going to be different from what a senior glove maker would focus on.
Okay, so let's start with that classic. Tell us about your experience in glove making question. What if you're just starting out?
If you're entry-level, you might not have a ton of paid experience.
Right. So what do you do?
You think outside the box. Did you take any classes? Maybe you volunteered at a costume shop and learned some stitching, or even helped a family member with a sewing project.
So it's about showing that you've taken initiative to learn, even if it wasn't a formal job.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to show your enthusiasm. Talk about the kind of glove making you're excited about, techniques you want to master, designers you admire.
Okay, so passion goes a long way. Now, what about a junior glove maker? How would they approach that same question?
At that level, you've got more concrete experience to share. Talk about specific projects you worked on, challenges you faced, skills you've developed.
So you're highlighting your accomplishments.
Right. And you might mention a mentor who's inspired you or a technique you've become really good at.
Okay, makes sense. Now, how would a senior glove maker tackle that question?
A senior glove maker would probably focus on their leadership experience, their design portfolio, their contributions to the industry.
So like a successful collection they launched or a tough client project they managed.
Exactly. It's about showcasing their impact and their ability to lead.
Got it. So the answer really evolves as you move up the career ladder.
It does. Now let's look at another question. How do you stay updated on the latest trends? An entry-level candidate might mention online resources they follow.
Like blogs or Instagram accounts for designers.
Yeah. Or books they've read, documentaries they've watched, anything that shows they're actively learning.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
How would a junior glove maker's answer differ?
They might mention industry publications, conferences they've attended, workshops they've taken.
Okay, so more professional development.
Right. They might talk about networking with other glove makers or following influential designers.
Showing that they're really plugged into the community. Now, what about a senior glove maker?
They're probably involved in industry organizations, contributing to research, mentoring others.
So they're really shaping the future of the field.
Exactly. They might even be presenting at conferences or writing articles.
That's impressive. Okay, one more. Can you describe your experience working with different glove materials? How does that answer change with experience?
An entry-level candidate would probably stick to the basics, like leather, suede, synthetic fabrics. They'd talk about the basic properties of each material.
Okay, so like durability, flexibility, things like that.
Right. A junior glove maker would go a bit deeper. They might discuss performance fabrics, waterproof membranes, thermal insulation, more specialized stuff.
So they're showing a deeper understanding of how materials impact design. What about a senior glove maker?
They might even talk about emerging materials, like smart fabrics or bio-based alternatives.
Oh, wow. The cutting edge stuff.
Yeah. And they might discuss the sustainability and ethical considerations of sourcing different materials.
That's important. So the answer to that question really reflects your level of knowledge and expertise.
Absolutely. It shows how your understanding of materials evolves as you gain experience.
All right, now I want to talk about those really challenging interview questions. The ones that make you sweat a little bit.
Yeah, those curveball questions, the ones they throw in to see how you think on your feet.
Exactly. So what are some examples? What kind of things should our listeners be prepared for?
One that often trips people up is, what is your biggest weakness as a glove maker? It's tricky because nobody's perfect.
Right. You can't just say you don't have any weaknesses.
Exactly. They'll see right through that. It's all about being self-aware and showing that you're constantly trying to improve.
Okay, so how do you answer that without totally shooting yourself in the foot?
Pick a weakness that's real but something you're actively working on. Maybe you're still getting the hang of a particular stitching technique. Or you tend to get lost in the details and lose sight of the bigger picture.
I see. So you're turning a negative into a positive by showing your commitment to growth.
Exactly. Now, another one they might throw at you is, tell me about a time you made a mistake during the glove making process. How did you handle it?
That's a good one. Because everyone makes mistakes.
Right.
It's how you learn.
Right. And that's what they want to see, how you take responsibility and what you learned from it.
So pick a situation where you messed up, but were able to fix it and learn from it.
Exactly. Briefly explain what happened, the mistake you made, and the steps you took to correct it. Did you have to start a seam over, consult with a more experienced glove maker, maybe redesign something? The key is to show that you learned from that mistake and you won't make it again.
So it's all about demonstrating accountability and showing that you're committed to quality.
Precisely. Now, sometimes they'll ask questions to get a sense of your vision for the industry, like, where do you see the future of glove making heading?
Ooh, I like that one. It's your chance to really nerd out about glove making.
It is. Have you been reading about those haptic feedback gloves? Or maybe augmented reality integration? What about the potential of sustainable materials and ethical production? Those are all hot topics right now.
It's about showing them you're not just skilled, you're passionate about where the craft is going.
Exactly. Share your insights and show them you're a forward thinker. Now here's another tricky one. How would you handle a disagreement with a colleague or client about a glove design?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Conflict happens, especially in creative fields.
Definitely. And they're trying to gauge your communication and problem-solving skills. So highlight your ability to listen to different perspectives and find a solution that works for everyone.
So it's about showing you're diplomatic and collaborative.
Right. And even if you've never faced that exact situation, you can still talk about how you'd approach it.
It's about showing that you can think it through and that you have those core communication skills.
Now, RoleCatcher's AI is a game changer for these tougher questions.
Yeah, that.
It can analyze the question and suggest tailored responses based on the job you're applying for. You can even practice answering out loud and get feedback on your delivery.
It's like having a personal coach right there on your phone. So we've talked about researching the company, understanding the career path, mastering those interview questions. Any final tips for someone prepping for a glove maker interview?
Be yourself. Let your passion shine through. Prepare, but don't over-rehearse. You want to sound natural. And remember, an interview goes both ways. Ask them questions. It shows you're curious and engaged.
Those are great tips. And confidence comes from preparation. So use all the resources you have, practice those answers, and get ready to wow them in that interview.
You got it. And one last thing to remember as you start this journey. Stay curious. Embrace challenges. Never stop learning. The world of glove making is full of possibilities.
I love that. All right, folks, that's our deep dive into the world of glove makers.